What would you do if your tenant could change your memories? If she could make you black out and forget stretches of time, only to suddenly wake up in a different place with no idea what you might have done or what she might have made you do? Hello everyone, and welcome to the Crucible of Character. I'm Cece, and this will be the topic of today's story. If you enjoy these stories and you make it to the end, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really means the most to me, as we're trying for 100 subscribers before the end of the year. Without further ado, here's the story. This story was uploaded to the r/scary stories subreddit by Foxy Foxness, and it's entitled, I think my new tenant might be a siren, and it starts like this. I've been renting out an old house built by my pappy's pappy for a few decades now. It's somewhere between a hunting cabin and a single-family residence, great for one person or a couple that doesn't plan on having any kids. Not ideal for raising a family by today's standards. You younger generations don't understand that sometimes you gotta make do with what you have. But you're not here to listen to an old man ramble about how things used to be. You're here because I mentioned my new tenant. This will make me sound negligent, but I didn't even know I had a new tenant. No, it's not because my wife made a decision without me. Been 5 years since I lost her. And it's not because I've got dementia. I think it might be her, the tenant. This forgetfulness doesn't seem to happen around anyone else. The last renter, fella by the name of Bryce, was a real piece of work, so I can't say I'm sorry he's not there anymore. I learned about my new tenant when I went to collect his rent, which was, as usual, late again by a few months. Reckon I should have kicked him to the curb sooner, but I tried to give people the benefit of the doubt. Times are tough. I walked onto the porch, skipping the bottom of 3 steps because it had broken off one side and tilted to the ground. A dingy old mattress lay propped against the wall. I shook my head. Bryce was letting this place fall to rack and ruin. Part of the deal with the discounted rent was that he kept the place in good condition. Looked like I'd have to talk to him about that, too. I knocked heavily on the door. Bryce, I need that rent money. You're 4 months behind now. Can't let you stay here if you don't. The door opened, and instead of Bryce, a young woman stood there. She was taller than average, but not remarkably so. Pretty face, but an odd style of dress that struck me as old-fashioned. And I say that as someone who grew up in the 60s. Geez, I thought, he better not be at this crap again. I'd kick him out today. Legalities be danged. Can I help you? She asked. Her voice, while soft, sounded full, reminiscent of a chorus, or 2 people talking in unison. It startled me in its uniqueness. Yes, miss. I'm looking to have a word with Bryce. Where is he at? I peeked past her slender form into the living room. It looked much tidier than the last time I'd been here. The woman tilted her head to the side. Bryce? He doesn't live here anymore. Left last week, remember? Sparkling forest green eyes held mine. Her voice seeped into me, and my mind grew fuzzy. Had Bryce moved out last week? The soothing tones of her speaking drifted over me again. I'm your tenant now. I believe our agreement is that you let me keep living here for $500 a month, and I will keep the house and acreage in good condition. Her words threaded through my mind, gentle and warm. Things started to come back to me. Yes, Bryce had decided to move on, and this lovely young lady was my new renter. My memory just isn't quite what it used to be, I guess. Right, of course, I said. Sorry, my dear, what was your name again? She stuck out her hand. You can call me Raynor Dean. The week after, I was reminded she was there. I thought I'd take her some muffins from the local bakery, partly as a housewarming gift, partly as an apology that I'd forgotten who she was. When I got to the house, she was out on the porch with a hammer and some nails. A beautiful melody floated to me on the breeze between bouts of hammering. The closer I got to it, the calmer I felt. Her slow but soulful tune sounded familiar. It wasn't until I reached the porch I realized it was a Janis Joplin song. She sang it a little slower than the original, but with just as much passion as Joplin herself. The sound was mesmerizing. I stood entranced until she finished. Without taking her focus from the railing she was fixing, she asked, What brings you around today? I shuffled forward, noticing the bottom stair had been fixed. Well, I thought I'd bring you a small housewarming gift, and I felt a little bad that I forgot who you were. She tapped in the final nail of that section of railing, then turned to me with a rueful smile. Oh, no worries. I'm well accustomed to being forgotten. Still, I thought it would be nice to pick you up a little something here. I held out the box of muffins. Made fresh this morning yet? My phone went off. Oh, sorry, just let me get this real quick. I took my phone off its belt clip as she took the muffins. The caller ID showed it was my daughter. Hey, sweetie, how are you? Hi, Dad, I'm fine. I just wanted to call you and ask if you'd gotten your vaccines updated yet. Ricky's birthday is next month, and I'm not going to let you come if you don't have your shots." I sighed, glancing at Raynardine, before turning and taking a few steps away. "Heather, we've been over this. I don't—" "Yeah, Dad, we have. I'm serious. If you don't get your vaccines, I'm not letting you near my kid." "Now just hold on a minute here. You can't keep Ricky from me because I won't buy into this vaccine bullcrap. He's my grandson." My face heated. If she kept on with this nonsense, I'd be making an appointment with a lawyer to discuss grandparents' rights. I can, and I will, because he's my son. If you want to come to Ricky's second birthday party, or any other events after that, you better get your shots. And I want proof from the doctor that you got them. She had the audacity to hang up on me after that. My hands shook as I put my phone back on the clip. "Everything okay?" I turned to find Raynardine, a few paces away, worry writ across her features. I wasn't going to burden her with my problems, but she looked so concerned, and her voice sounded so open. Yes, I could trust her with this. She'd been on my side. I was certain. "No," I started. "My daughter's threatening to keep my grandson from me if I don't get vaccinated. I told her I'm not doing it, because you can't trust that kind of thing these days. They put all sorts of chemicals in them, even microchips, you know." I tried telling her that. Arms crossed, she listened, nodding along as I ranted. When I was done, she said, "I'm sorry that you feel she's doing this to hurt you. She's just trying to protect her child from easily preventable diseases. Modern medicine has so many great innovations, don't you think? It would be a shame to waste them. Vaccines are one of those things. You're old enough to know someone who suffered or died from polio, aren't you? I had a great uncle who was crippled for life because of it. Today's children needn't suffer, though." Her green eyes gazed into me, into my soul as she spoke. The cadence of her voice seeped into me, soothing my worries. She made a good point. Modern medicine is amazing. Just look at the hip replacement I had last year. Why should vaccines be any less trustworthy? I bobbed my head slowly. "I think you might be right," I confessed. "She's just trying to protect Ricky. I'll call my doctor tomorrow and schedule an appointment." Raynardine smiled warmly at me. "Good. You have a nice afternoon now. I need to get back to work." She patted me on the shoulder before returning to fix the porch rail. I saw her again, 3 nights later, when I was at the local watering hole. She sat by herself at the end of the bar, nursing a shot of dark fluid. I was about to go say hello when a young man approached her. I didn't know him, but I recognized the swagger of his type. He laid a hand on her shoulder, leaning in close. She gave him a stern look, and I thought perhaps my eyes were deceiving me when I saw her mouth the words, "F off." Whether that was actually what she said or not, it was clear that she wanted him to leave her alone. The young man didn't want to take a hint, though, so I made my way toward them. As I sidled up to the bar, a few patrons down, I listened to their conversation. "Oh, come on, honey. Just let me buy you one drink. I told you to F off. I'm not here for you. Be grateful for that." Her voice was hard and flinty, not at all the soothing tones I had heard previously. "Not here for me? But I'm here for you," the man crooned. I stood, about to intervene on her behalf, when I heard her start singing. No, not quite. It was simply a lyrical way of speaking. I had been waiting in the shadows way too long, saving up my punches while I bite my tongue. But I am about to strike, gonna leave a mark. Best F off before the world goes dark. I resettled on my bar stool. Something about the way she half sang the words screamed, "Back away before you regret your life choices." The young man nearly tripped over his own feet as he backed away. My eyebrows went up. That was a new way to get an overconfident buck to back off. Best let sleeping dogs lie, I thought. I ordered a beer from the bartender and turned my gaze to the lone TV, showing a recap of the Pirates game. After a while, I noticed Raynardine approach a different man. I knew him from around town. Hard not to in a tiny place like this, where gossip is a favorite pastime for most folks. Anyhow, he was nothing but trouble. Been in and out of jail over the years for domestic violence, and had to be at least a decade older than her. Besides, she tapped him on the shoulder and gave him a smile when he turned. I don't know what she said to him, but his eyes, well, they glazed over in a way. Then the pair walked out of the bar together. Frowning, I paid my tab and trailed after them. I know I should probably mind my own business, but I wasn't about to let my new tenant get involved with that dirtbag. She's not from around here, so she wouldn't know how dangerous the guy was. Once outside, I spotted them walking around the corner to the bar. The woods were right out back, only 10 feet or so from the building. Surely, they weren't headed there. I hurried to catch up, my achy knee making me slower than I'd like. Now, I know you'll probably chalk this up to me being old and my memory starting to go, but I don't quite remember what happened after I turned that corner. All I can really remember is an angelic voice singing a lullaby. I don't think I watched anyone drag a body into the woods, but I'm not entirely sure either. I don't even know why I would think I'd have seen such a thing. The next thing I remember clearly is the bartender tapping the counter in front of me and saying it was last call. Last call? I thought. How could it be last call already? Sure enough, it was almost 2 a.m. I don't know where the time went. Anywho, that was all last night. I admit, I was a bit concerned about Reynardine this morning, so I went to pay her a visit. She didn't answer right away. I started to worry that something might have happened to her. When she finally opened the door, I noticed dark circles under her eyes. "Can I help you?" she asked. Based on her exhausted appearance, I had expected her voice to come out as a croak, but it was as smooth as ever. "Good morning, Reynardine. I just wanted to see how you're getting on. You all right?" She looked at me through bleary eyes, and I got the sense she was trying to figure out why I was on her doorstep. To be honest, I'm not sure why I was there either, except that I wanted to make sure that the man she'd been talking to hadn't roughed her up. "Yeah," she answered after a moment. "Yeah, I'm fine. Just had a long night, is all. If you don't actually need anything, I'm not feeling too great. Afraid I need to say goodbye." I know that sounds odd of her to say, and looking back, it was mighty strange. The last few words were layered with mesmerizing tones. I couldn't help my reply. "Of course, I'll leave you be. Take it easy now." And that's my new tenant. She's a lovely person, but there's just something about her that feels off. Should I be worried, do you think? The end. Another good story, I think. You really like these stories that are posted on Reddit, and that's why I really like making these videos a lot. So I think that a kind of common thing that I'm finding with a lot of these stories is people that kind of tend to play out their hand too early. And I think that in this story, it leaves in such a way, or it ends in such a way, whereas the main character has not fully played out their hand. And by that I mean, if you can imagine a scene where somebody's walking into a dark room and they see shoes underneath the curtain, oh, easy peasy, right? Somebody's hiding behind it. So they jump out, revealing themselves, and they rip out the curtain, only to realize that it was a setup. Now they're completely exposed, and the antagonist knows exactly where they are. So kind of like that, kind of being tricked or falling into a trap of sorts. So I think while he's not in a great position because of the ability that she has over him, there's not really anything he can do. Because unless he gets the jump on her, or gets her while she's sleeping, if, it were to come to that, there's really no way for him to get her. So I think the most important takeaway from this story is, appear weak when you're strong and appear strong when you're weak. Don't overplay your hand. Wait for the time, and you'll know. I think too often we get one card in our hand, and without even thinking about how it'll affect the next go-around, we just send it. Truthfully, I don't think that's a great idea. I think that the more time we can think of how our actions might affect others and how they might react, it can help us to be a few steps ahead. It can help us so that if we were to ever get into an instance like this, if we were to ever get maybe trapped by an SCP or a Wendigo or a siren or whatever it may be, well, we aren't truly so trapped. If we can learn to look ahead of us a little ways and not just see what's in front of us, I think that's something that, especially with younger people, it's something that's really hard to do. But I know it's a skill, and I know it's a skill we can all develop. So with that, please learn to do that. Learn to look ahead. Learn to plan for the future. Learn to plan for more than just now. Thank you all so much for making it to the end of the video. I do appreciate it so very much. I really appreciate the new subscribers who we've gotten recently. Please, if you enjoy these videos and you think anyone else might enjoy them as well, please make sure to send them one of my videos so that they might be able to subscribe or get into them as well. I know that with the YouTube algorithm, it's still trying to figure me out, and it doesn't really know who to put these videos in front of. So the more help I can get, the better. I really appreciate you all. And again, we're trying to hit 100 subscribers before the end of the year. I love all of your help in doing that. It does mean the world to me, each of you that view my videos and like them and comment on each one of them and subscribe. And with that, I'm Cece. Thank you for watching. I love you all. Bye.